This week on Longwood Weekly News, during spring weekend, a stabbing took place on Garden Street in Farmville, and a new app known as Yik Yak is becoming a form of bullying on campuses. These stories and more on Longwood Weekly News, starting now. Thank you for tuning in to Longwood Weekly News. I'm Kelsey Leach.
And I'm Nurmi. This past weekend, a high school student visiting the campus for the university's annual spring weekend was maliciously wounded around off-campus housing. Catie Frech has more.
Warning, viewer discretion advised, graphic material disclosed.
Thanks, Amanda. I'm here at the corner of Garden and Beach Street, the approximate location of where the subject was stabbed on April 13th at about 2 o'clock in the morning. The subject was stabbed repeatedly by a group of males and was found in this area on the sidewalk.
The incident that I found the victim was in the middle of Garden Street. By the time I ran to Buffalo, came back to the victim and squatted down to help him, the police were there.
The original call came in about 2 o'clock in the morning of someone being down on the ground, and it appears they were bleeding. Officers arrived on the scene and found a young man, 18-year-old young man, not a Longwood student, but was a young high school man who was here to be part of the spring weekend, and found that he had had an altercation in a parking lot with a group of other young men and had been stabbed multiple times.
He had a significant amount of blood on his pants. His cargo shorts were completely covered in blood. His face, mouth, shirt was covered in blood. And as soon as I saw him, I started yelling for my male friend. I could see him coming from my peripheral. So as soon as I saw him, I called the police. I ran to Buffalo to see what street we were on. And by the time I got back, my male friend had taken off the victim's shirt and covered his wounds to stop the bleeding.
We're trying. I will do anything we possibly can to try to stop such things like this from happening, and we'll do whatever we can, and we'll take suggestions and we'll work with people to try to do that, because it is heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to have this type of thing happen, and it really changes people's lives forever.
I went to the hospital the next day. I met with his mother. I met him. He's doing good. His mom gave me an update today that he was released from the hospital. He had significant stab wounds multiple times, but he's doing well, and he's on his way to full recovery.
Longwood Chief of Police Robert Beach stated this is a Town of Farmville jurisdictional case. It is my understanding in talking to Chief Mooney that there are ongoing leads on the case, and an investigator is working on those leads as we speak. Farmville Chief of Police Doug Mooney was unavailable to comment on the incident. The police report has not yet been released.
Thanks for the update, Catie. This past Sunday, Chi Alpha and New Life hosted Jesus Jamz, a community-wide worship service. Brian James has more.
This past Sunday, Chi Alpha and New Life, two Christian organizations on campus, hosted Jesus Jamz, an on-campus worship service inside Jarman Auditorium. The nearly 2-hour-long service involved personal stories, prayer, and lots of music.
I remember the Lord planted a vision in my heart of a worship service outside on campus, and so I shared it with Becca, one of the other girls that are on the leadership staff. And we took it to our pastor and we told him, hey, we want to do this, and all we need to do is pick a date.
The service, open to the community and people of all ages, was aimed at reminding people that God is still alive in the church.
So I wanted to have pretty much 2 thematic lines about our set list, and that was the love of God and just the truth and reality that He was victorious, He rose from the grave, and that He's living and He's alive in our hearts.
Alvin Thomas, campus director for Chi Alpha, shared similar thoughts on the purpose of opening up the service to anyone who wanted to join.
I think venues like Jesus Jam creates an atmosphere where not just Chi Alpha but the other campus ministries can gather together and worship together.
Both Sims and Braddock said they were very excited about the turnout the event had and are already planning the next Jesus Jams, likely in October of this year. For Longwood Weekly News, I'm Brian James.
Thanks, Brian. A new app has created controversy among Greeks on campus and could be seen as a new form of cyberbullying. I talked with individuals around campus to find out more. Yik Yak is a social media application where people post updates about what they're doing around the area. Everything on the application is anonymous, which has created a new form of cyberbullying among the Greek community on campus.
I think that there's a lot of opportunity for bullying to happen on Yik Yak. That opportunity to be anonymous is easier for people. People are cowards for the most part. It's hard to say some of the things that are on your mind, and sometimes you want to say things out, put things out there that are just not nice. But I don't think it's any bigger of an opportunity for bullying than Twitter is, than other social media outlets are.
A lot of the posts are targeted towards a single person as well as a group, which are not all negative, but the mass of the posts are seen in a negative light. Martinez also stated she does not think it's just Greeks who are on Yik Yak.
I think it's a little bit of everybody, and I also don't think it's just Greeks posting negative things about Greeks. There's probably non-affiliated students who are on there as well, fueling the fire. I think Greeks are just an easy mark sometimes. It's easy to call out one organization versus another because we have letters. We have something that defines us out, externally.
Mariah McCormick, Vice President of Public Relations for College Panhellenic Council at Longwood, stated she does see it as a sign of bullying, but the information posted is usually not true.
It's obviously offensive to certain organizations, certain individuals, and it gets out of hand. However, I believe that a lot of the information on there is false. A lot of the accusations are false. I believe it's a way for someone to just start drama for no reason.
Martinez mentioned the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life is not taking action on Yik Yak and leaving it up to the CPC and IFC to handle it as they wish.
I think one of the big things that they're doing is really just letting it be. They've kind of mentioned in both councils that it's not a good idea to be on Yik Yak, to go ahead and delete it, to not let it become a big controversy. But ultimately, the more that they talk about it, the bigger of a deal it becomes, and the more people are going to download it and want to know what's going on.
My biggest thing that I told my chapter and I told CPC was, if you don't want your image to look bad and you don't want to get involved, then don't get the app. Don't look at it. Don't participate in it.
In the past, the university faced the same type of cyberbullying through a site called College ACB, which ran its course long before Yik Yak came around. And both Martinez and McCormick believe Yik Yak will soon fade out as well.
Thanks, Amanda. And thank you for tuning in to this episode of Longwood Weekly News. I'm Kelsey Leach.
And I'm Amanda Nurmi.